Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we're going to be continuing with our series, What's a Philosophy Degree Worth? In this video, we're going to be looking at how to sell your philosophy degree, 8 ways to pitch your degree in a job interview and at the dinner table. Now, most people who have pursued a philosophy degree have been faced with the question from friends or family, what are you going to do with that? Are you going to go teach? How much do philosophers make? Why don't you do something useful? Even when these questions are well-meaning, it can be helpful to have some answers or statistics ready to go in order to placate the relatives. In this video, we'll look at some dinner table responses and then move on to how to sell your philosophy degree in a job interview. Now, first tactic. Philosophy is a springboard to another career that's going to make you more money. Need to convince your family that a philosophy degree can lead to a productive job? Talk about it as a springboard to graduate school, even if you don't know if you want to attend graduate school yet. Many parents are concerned to hear that their child wants to be a philosopher, but you say you want to be a lawyer, and they may be all ears. Philosophy is one of the top pre-law majors, and philosophers score the second best of all majors on the LSAT. You can also pitch it as a way to move towards a degree in business or public policy, because philosophy majors score better than any other major on the GRE and very well on the GMAT. Sell your degree as a way to get into a highly competitive graduate school. You can also point out that philosophy majors by their mid-career are making $81,000. That's more than business management majors and chemistry majors. Tactic number 2, argue. Why tell when you can show? If you're comfortable with a more argumentative dinner conversation, another tactic would be to bring up a philosophical topic and argue about it. Ask whether whatever relative is pushing you to become a doctor or engineer some ethical question, whether or not they believe in free will, and so on. Then argue with them about it. Show them that not only has your philosophy degree given you the skills to argue your point, but it's dealing with questions that everyone asks about morality or freedom. If you take this tactic, try not to let it get too personal. If you're tactful, either your interlocutor will get bored because they don't actually enjoy arguing, or they may like to debate and see your point of the virtues of a degree that lets you debate important ideas all the time. Tactic number 3, famous philosophy majors. Now, another method to try to sell someone on a philosophy degree is to say that X famous person that they respect studied philosophy in college. It might be a logical fallacy to let them assume that you will be like that person, but it may get them off your back. Here are some famous folks who studied philosophy. Pick the ones you think your family member will respect the most. We have a wide range of political spectrum here. So we have Alex Trebek, Pope John Paul II, Harrison Ford, Lachlan Murdoch, Bob Moses, Carly Fiorina, Bruce Lee, Martin Luther King Jr., Lana Del Rey, George Soros, Justice Stephen Breyer, Ricky Gervais, and many more. If none of those seem appealing, do some research online and find someone who you think your family member will respect and come armed with that name of this person majored in philosophy and they're doing great. Now, tactic number 4, and probably the best tactic, passion and honesty. You can always be honest and talk about your passion for philosophy, what you love about philosophy, what makes you so interested in it, what makes you want to pursue a major in philosophy. What about philosophy makes you excited? If your family really cares about you, seeing that passion may be enough to quell their concerns. Do you really care about answering the big questions of life? Do you have a particular philosopher that deeply inspires you? Do you think that an unexamined life is not worth living? Do you feel you're learning important things about yourself and what you should do in the world through philosophy? Say so. Show your family your passion for philosophy by talking about it and what you love doing with it. Now, the dinner table is not the only place that folks can question your philosophy degree. A more practical situation where you may need to defend your degree is in a job interview. Maybe you're fresh out of college and you're trying to frame your 4 years of studying philosophy as useful experience. Maybe you're trying to shift from a low-wage job to a higher-paying career and you want to leverage your philosophy degree to make you seem like a better fit for the white-collar world. Maybe you're just worried that your interviewer will be like your family at the dinner table and judge you negatively for having a philosophy degree. All of these tactics can be used at the dinner table as well. So let's take a look. Tactic number 5, a little bit of everything all the time. Now, everything used to be philosophy. It is why in most fields the highest degree is a doctorate of philosophy. This means that you can tailor yourself for a particular job by emphasizing the components of philosophy that best fit the position. Looking for a job in tech? Talk about the rigorous logic classes that you took that look more like math than philosophy. Looking for work in government? Talk about your classes in political philosophy and ethics. Looking for work in the sciences? Talk about your work in philosophy of science. Philosophy is sufficiently nonspecific that it can be anything to anyone. Tactic number 6, lean into the complexity. Now, many jobs are looking for someone that can synthesize complex ideas or who can write very clearly and succinctly. Most people also understand that philosophy can be very complex and esoteric. Play this to your advantage in an interview by talking about your skills summarizing and interpreting very complex ideas. But be careful, make sure to have some complicated philosophy that you can summarize quickly, just in case someone asks you to showcase your skills of synthesis and summarization. These skills are particularly useful in kind of white-collar office jobs, and so talking about this in terms of that framing can help you get entry into that world. Tactic number 7, logic. Many companies are looking for people that can understand complex chains of events and the knock-on effects of particular decisions. How will tweaking one component of a supply chain impact other components? How does changing one step in a logic model change the overall impacts of the program? Philosophers can lean into the fact that philosophy is built on top of logic to showcase their skills to meet these challenges. Philosophy puts the logic in logistics, or logic models. Philosophy professors often laud the analytical thinking of philosophers, but you should also lean into the strategic thinking abilities. Not only does philosophy teach about the logical consequences of something, it teaches you strategic thinking of how to outwit your opponent in an argument using rigorous logic. All of this can be very impactful because logic is generally coded very positively for business owners. Now, tactic number 8, persuasion. Making arguments in philosophy is at its core about persuasion. It's about persuading someone else that your argument is correct. Many jobs are looking for people with this persuasive ability, the ability to string together coherent arguments. Lean into this particularly for positions in marketing, where you need to sell consumers a product, law, where you need to convince a jury, or public advocacy, where you need to build consensus around a law or a policy to be implemented. Philosophers are masters of logical persuasion and can use this to their advantage in an interview. But if you're going to use this tactic, make sure to have a good sample sales pitch or elevator pitch queued up in case your interviewer asks you for a demonstration on the spot. Whether at the dinner table or in a job interview, the tactics you use will depend on the situation. Read the room. Some people will respond better to a heartfelt plea, while others just want to have a good old argument. Some jobs are looking for people that are great logical persuaders, while others are looking for analysts that can succinctly summarize complex ideas. Read the room, research a job and an organization if you're applying to it, figure out the best tactic, and deploy it. Now, a big thank you before we go to Eugene S.Y. for supporting Carneades.org on Patreon since 2017. You too can support the channel and get access to Patreon exclusive posts for just $2 a month. That's less than buying me a box of cookies every month. If you want to support public philosophy, please do consider going to our Patreon and donating. If you have or are pursuing a philosophy degree, what tactics have you used to defend it, either to your family or at a job interview? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe if you want to watch this video and see more, and of course, watch this video and see more here at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical, everybody.